I'm not really a fan of traditional pickles. I'm more of a pickled, like, I don't like the dill profile so much. I think that's what it is. So
yes, Bryan.
yeah,
yes.
the onions are more just kind of more of a savory, sweet kind of thing. So that's really what it is.
Cali hates
a man
dill
after my own heart.
more than anyone
hater.
I've ever met.
A fellow dill hater.
That is amazing news.
Welcome to The Discourse, the podcast that has hot food takes,
cool food people,
and never a lukewarm moment.
If you're new here, we're a podcast where we dish and debate on the latest food trends and fads. I'm Chef Renee. I help direct an R&D culinary test kitchen, and I think that Chicago mild sauce is the end-all, be-all chicken sauce.
I don't even know what that is.
It's great.
Okay, well, I'm Cali, trends expert nutritionist, and I would say that a chicken sandwich is my least favorite format or vessel to eat fried chicken in.
Interesting.
Wow, okay. Dang. Okay. And my name is Chef Cam. I manage a team of R&D chefs. And don't knock it till you try it, but cold fried chicken is actually very delicious.
I can 100% get on board with that.
Okay, cool. It's not as crazy as I thought.
Always.
There we go. We love it.
Yes. But anyway, today we have a very special guest. We have Bryan Fisherkeller. He is the Culinary Innovation Manager at Popeyes. Bryan, how the hell are you?
I'm really good. Thanks for having me, guys. Happy to be here.
We're excited that you're here.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. And so we're going to start with our first segment, Spill the Sauce. How this works is I'm going to ask you short form questions and you're going to give me the answer. Our first question, starting you off easy, favorite ice cream flavor?
Peanut butter chocolate.
Ooh, good one.
Good one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Nice.
Okay.
And if I could put malt in there, I would add malt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love a malt.
Are we talking about chicken or ice cream?
God. I know. Okay. Favorite shape of French fry?
Curly.
Curly. Yes, I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Fair.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how spicy can you spicy?
Regularly, probably 6 or 7.
Wow.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, above average, but
Yeah.
you're not nothing insane here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
City with the best food?
Chicago.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right
So
answer.
is Chicago. That's the number one answer through and through. And last but not least, what is your favorite part of the chicken to eat?
Thighs.
Thighs.
Oh, good
Dark
answer.
meat.
Agreed. I'm a
Great.
dark meat girl myself.
Flavorful.
Yes.
Yum.
Yes.
Okay, so obviously we're talking about chicken today, considering our guest from Popeyes, which is very cool. But we're going to just get into Guess That Operator. So I'm going to read a couple of news stories and then you're going to guess what operator it's about.
Okay.
So another chicken chain has joined the race, even though they've been around since the 90s after coming from overseas. And just recently, there was an article that called them out as potentially the new chicken champion with the launch of their new hand-breaded 100% white meat chicken tenders that have been brined and covered in a light but crispy breading and which consumers are saying might be better than Raising Cane's. The article mentioned that these tenders also come with a brand new zesty, creamy, and tangy dipping sauce that is very reminiscent of a tastier Thousand Island dressing or a spiced aioli, which has left fans on social media saying it's giving Raising Cane's. But if you aren't a sauce lover, which is crazy, you also can't go wrong with the brand's cult favorite gravy. And they are now available nationwide in 3, 6, and 10 piece options.
Is it Jollibee?
It is.
I was going to say Jollibee.
Dude, as soon
Wow,
as
Cam
you
was on the
said-
money.
No, dude, as soon as you said gravy,
I
I was
gave
like,
it away.
it has to be Jollibee. I mean,
I've
being
yet
Filipino,
to-
yeah.
Get to a Jollibee, but I feel like
There's a
that's an
handful in New
experience
York.
I need to have. Yeah.
It's a little, it's a sweet. It's like sweet fried chicken.
Well,
right?
I like sweet anything, so that sounds good to
Yeah.
me.
But you can't go without having the spaghetti.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. You know,
Yeah.
The spaghetti.
It's also like such a
One-stop
unique
shop.
Yeah, no, for real. I gotta get there.
Yeah.
my spaghetti,
Okay.
my fried chicken, and my burger.
And
Yeah.
you got to take a picture with
classic
the
combo.
mascot.
That's
right in
sassy
front
little bee.
of-
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
Yeah. Any Jollibee that my mom has like gone to, she'll always take a picture with the mascot. It's so funny.
All right, so I felt like this was necessary as we have officially now entered a new baseball season, but it also speaks to the continued relevance of our category today. And instead of Guess That Operator, this might be a little bit harder, but we're doing Guess That Celebrity Chef. Emphasis on celebrity, so it's definitely someone you know. But just recently, we saw many articles coming out about all of the exciting new food that consumers will be able to enjoy at different ballparks around the country. And this season at Rate Field, where the White Sox play in Chicago, consumers will be able to enjoy chicken sandwiches and chicken fingers from a popular chicken chain that was founded in 2015 as a spinoff of this famous chef's empire, which has now extended from several restaurants to a full brand of many CPG consumer packaged goods products like sauces and chili crunch. The chicken sandwiches have a nice but not overpowering spice that thanks to a 24-hour habanero brine that's easily scaled. And aside from gaining access to what has since been a New York novelty, the article called out that this is the kind of craveable option that consumers will come back to the park for.
I guess, Bryan, do you have a guess?
Yeah.
I think it's David Chang.
It is David Chang.
We were just talking about how the White Sox are the current worst team in baseball history.
R.I.P.
You know? So you could get to a game for like $5. So, and they just redid their food. Right. They just redid their food menu. So they have like Korean corn dogs now. They've got like the bubble waffles. They also have like a Kamitsky dog, which is like the best hot dog ever. It's a foot-long Chicago style dog. And so now Guaranteed Rate Field, in my opinion, is more of like a pay-to-play food court at a mall. And it is like an actual place where
it's
I'm
like a food court with a side of baseball.
Yeah, exactly. It's like how much am I craving a hot dog today, and will that get like my butt in one of those seats?
I just happened to be able to watch a baseball game while I'm enjoying my food. Like, oh, this is great.
It's like live theater, you know?
Yeah.
Amazing. But just to kick off our conversation or with our context or our bread service about the chicken category and kind of what we're seeing happen, chicken really is a dominant protein on menus across food service. It's still growing on menus. 50% of operators are planning to increase their use of chicken in the next year. But it really is a key indicator of all of our evolving consumer trends in general because it is affordable, it's versatile, it's convenient, it's healthy. Price is actually the number one driver that determines increased and decreased consumption of chicken, which is interesting. We've obviously seen it across all different menu categories and cuisines and day parts. And also 77% of consumers do consider it a healthy option. It obviously is a good source of protein and lean protein. But because it spans so many categories, today we want to focus on how operators are really differentiating their chicken on the menu because it is such a saturated market. And they obviously need to still find a way to stand out. So I feel like we got to kick this off with none other than a discussion about the chicken sandwich wars, given our guests today. And I'm just curious, I mean, how do you feel like the chicken sandwich wars has changed consumer expectations in QSR or operators' approach to innovation? And like, how has that new bar that's been set at Popeyes kind of influenced your own expectation at Popeyes for new innovation?
Well, I think that I wasn't at Popeyes when the sandwich popped off. I actually worked with all you lovely folks at that time. So from that perspective, I was like, how did this not happen sooner? Like, it's just a fried chicken breast on a bun, like, with pickles. Like, it's been done everywhere, but not on this scale. And truthfully, I think that we all agreed that even at that time it was great. And I said it before I worked for Popeyes. Like, I really enjoyed that chicken sandwich. So I think it's gone from being something that you see on the menu sometimes to now being a standard in QSR. Like, we have to have some kind of premium chicken option. But I don't want to forget about the workhorses, the chopped and formed chicken sandwiches, because they haven't gone away because we still love them. So, Popeyes was the first one to do that big premium, not chopped in form, full breast filet, but I still love the Wendy's spicy chicken. Like it's still good. And the McChicken, like, you know, the original McChicken, not the McCrispy, not the new one.
They're like different eating occasions.
Yeah.
Dare I say, you know?
Yes. I agree. And even specifically zooming into McDonald's, I prefer the McChicken over the McCrispy. You know, I enjoy the cheaper one over the more premium option.
Yeah.
So I think it really made it part of the standard fast food experience.
I think something that a lot of people don't know is that the Popeye's chicken sandwich existed on menus in Chicago specifically for a long time before it exploded. Yeah. So I was working with folks who were like Popeye's daily people for lunch. And like, we had been eating that chicken sandwich for a very long time. And then all of a sudden it was so popular and we were like, come on guys, like now, like, you know, like, and I'm curious if there's like an internal thing that you know of, but like, was there some kind of, and I know you weren't there, but was there like an ad campaign or some kind of like social media hit that really like made it explode, or was like this like scheming from Popeyes?
It was really, and again, as soon as I started Popeyes, I'm like, give me the scoop. How did it happen? Tell me about the magic.
Yeah.
Like,
we need to hear it now.
Yes.
And it was really unintentional on there. Of course, everybody wants to succeed when the usual rollout.
Yeah.
Right.
They were not like, guys, this is going to be crazy. They were like, oh yeah, another rollout. Yeah. But there was a catalyst, and it was I believe it was a sassy tweet. And at this time, the idea of corporate accounts giving sassy tweets was still novel and new. I know everyone's doing it now, and it could still be fun. But at this time, again, it was really new. And so people were it was still fun. But I think after it started blowing up a little bit, they tweeted out like, y'all good or something, kind of like at Chick-fil-A or like I don't know. I don't remember the exact context of it. But people took it in a lot of ways. Like, are you okay because you guys are going crazy, or are your competitors okay because they're getting all the chicken people? There's no lines outside Chick-fil-A at that time. So.
Well, it's crazy too, because I mean, that happened so many years ago at this point, but the chicken sandwich wars hold strong. Like, we're still seeing operators try to compete. I know like Applebee's recently launched a big clucking chicken sandwich where they were like, if anyone wants to try and bring in a bigger chicken sandwich, we'll give you one for free.
Right.
Like, or even they're still out here competing. And I saw the craziest stat, which is that, I mean, like you were saying before, Bryan, we've obviously seen it become such a staple on menus. Last year, people consumed 2.7 billion chicken sandwiches in the United States.
What?
That's so many chicken sandwiches.
How many people are here in the United States?
Yeah.
How many chicken sandwiches per person? And was I doing my part, or do I need to be eating more chicken sandwiches next year?
Probably always more, Renee.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. These are the numbers that we need to be keeping track of.
Right.
Yeah.
This is how our nation moves.
I mean, even like Bonchon, they launched a chicken sandwich last year.
See? Yeah, it's moving into ubiquity, as they say in the menu adoption cycle.
Yes.
No, exactly. And I mean, it's interesting because obviously over the years, we've seen so many chicken-specific chains popping up, and like Korean fried chicken and all these different variants. But even the big players like McDonald's and, Burger King, who have always played in chicken, are now, like this year, have announced that they're dedicating new entire teams just to the chicken category because it's so much more competitive than it's ever been.
But I still think that like that solid, like filling chicken sandwich, that like the craveable one, that's always gonna be Popeyes for me. I'll like never the bun that it's on, the sauce, all of it. Yeah. It all hits. And I tried the golden one that you guys had out, the golden barbecue one last summer. But it just didn't hit as hard as the original for me. The original, it's just like when I'm craving a chicken sandwich, it is, for all intents and purposes, the Popeyes chicken sandwich that I'm craving.
And I feel like,
no, go for it, Cam.
I was going to say, like, the Popeyes chicken sandwich, like, it just kind of harkens back to just like simple food, just executed very well. Like, I know that we talk about like LTOs and like extensions and flavor extensions, but like there is, again, something inherently important about sourcing the right ingredients to make something and then just executing it very well. I know that for Popeyes, you guys fry in like beef tallow, and like that is like very much like a signature thing. That is giving off a lot of flavor to something so simple. And it's like those little swaps can mean like a big difference in terms of just like what people think of like when they think of the sandwich. Because I will never forget when I had my first bite of it. Someone from the office ordered a bunch of them and it was like everybody had like a mind like blowing experience. It was like, this is incredible. Like,
we love a new piece of food that just like totally changes your life.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen every day.
Totally.
Yeah. And again, like you said, it was the simplicity of it. You know, it was just a really good quality bun, a nice thick, not a flimsy, mushy pickle. It had just enough give. Really well made barrel cured pickle, and then just a thick fillet fried in tallow with a really flavorful marinade on it. You know, it was just only a handful of ingredients. You know, you didn't have to get crazy. Of course, I love a crazy build, love a crazy sandwich with a bunch of toppings. But when it comes to the fast food game, sometimes when you're just trying to really focus on value for people, it's all about just simplicity.
So you were just saying that you love a fancy build on occasion, though, because I agree. Something simple is always delicious if it's executed well. But we do want to talk a bit about these chicken trends that have kind of taken on a life of their own. And we've seen them in so many different formats, kind of like Korean barbecue chicken, Nashville hot, like spicy in general, or spicy. Like, which one of those trends do you feel has been like the most impactful in chicken recently?
Well, actually, my hot take is one of the flavors.
Okay.
But I'd say the most impactful today, I'd probably say, is Korean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because the word barbecue is always really approachable for Americans. And if you just put the ethnicity right in front of it, it's just Korean barbecue. It's so easy to understand, and yet it's so
true,
tasty.
though.
Yeah.
It's tasty, and it's different enough where it's something people haven't tried before. Like like gochujang, which is, you know, the main staple flavor in a lot of Korean cuisine, is not it doesn't taste like anything that you'd find in typical American cuisine. So when people taste it, it's very distinct. And yet it's still approachable when it's in a sticky sweet context, you know, barbecue sauce. So I think that's been really impactful because people are trying to find ways to do just that, add flavors to the menu in an accessible way.
I think that like that barbecue call out specifically is like so important because that feels like the hand that is extended, that like it doesn't matter what that first word is, because barbecue feels so inherently American because we have so many different types of barbecue that like it's like, oh well, it turns it almost into like a fusion food, even though Korean barbecue on its own is its own thing, right? But
of course,
it's like training people, right? We've been talking a lot about gochujang and how 10 years ago everyone would have been like, what chujang? And it's like everyone knows what it is, and the American consumer can be trained and they can be educated and they're open to new experiences. And I think that that's one thing that oftentimes we don't give enough credit to our consumer for.
What is the best, I guess, what's the best example of a version of Korean barbecue chicken that you've tried on a menu recently or ever?
Within QSR or just in general?
Just in general. Like, have you seen anything interesting beyond just like the fried chicken itself?
My favorite, like I'm around fried chicken so much that it's not something that I'll often treat myself with. But
so fair.
If I was going to treat myself with some fried chicken, I don't know if it's a small chain, but there's a few of them in Chicago, and I don't know where else they may be, but it's called Chungman chicken.
Yes.
Oh, I've never heard of this.
Yeah.
So first, it's like a really typical Korean fried style chicken. I don't know if it's double fried. It tastes double fried to me. There's some starches involved. It's not just flour, so it's really Korean style. But I specifically like one of their flavors that's weird, not Korean. I love their curry flavors. They have a curry glaze.
Oh my God.
Like the history on why like those curry flavors were in that part of Asia is a whole nother story, but it's such a fun fusion for me because I just love all curries, and I think Korean fried chicken from a textural standpoint is just way better than American fried chicken. So it's a perfect combo for me. So that's, if I was gonna go get some really good fried chicken, I would get the curry at Chungman.
Sounds like I need to go get that.
Cali announced this morning that when she's buried, she'd like to be buried in curry. Of any variety. Tell us,
curry.
What do you think, like when we're talking about Korean like style fried chicken, Bryan, when you're thinking about that in the context of being a chicken expert, can you tell our listeners like what that means to you?
So for me, usually it means the style of breading, and then I also alluded to being double fried. First, typically in the style of breading, and I won't pretend to be an expert, so if there are any real Korean fried chicken experts here. And,
you're more of a chicken expert than
first let me
anyone.
identify myself. I'm Vietnamese.
Sure.
I'm Vietnamese. I am saying this as a consumer who likes their fried chicken, so if there's any real experts out there, feel free to correct me wrong. But I think in a lot of their fried chicken, there's the presence of some kind of concentrated starch, not just flour. Starch flour has some starch in it, but not as much as a concentrated starch. Like in their culture, I think there's a lot of like potato starch, potato starch, and of course probably rice starches are involved. But also I think that they utilize pre-gelatinized starches more than we do. So there are starches that are hydrated and then dried and then used as a functional ingredient as opposed to a raw unhydrated starch. That difference is not one that's understood in the Western world as much. So you don't see that technique a lot. That's a technique they also use in baking a lot, is they'll pre-gelatinize starches in baking. And that's how the Japanese bread in particular gets to be so fluffy. Yeah,
I love the food science explanation right now. That's like pretty crazy. I've never heard that.
Yeah, so in the West we don't really pre-gelatinize starches often like that, but it's a fun way to play with the textures.
I gotta go eat more Korean fried chicken.
Chungman's my spot in the Chicagoland area. Yes. And I did allude to Chicago being the best Chicago like food city, and I just wanted to touch on that, and I'll say that I like it because it is a city that is focused for meat and potatoes eater.
Yes.
That's my political. That's my political way of saying for fat guys. It is for people like, do you want beef and starches and like butter? Like,
come to Chicago.
We got you, girl.
And it's like, it's at every restaurant. And if they don't have that, it's some kind of really indulgent pasta dish with like an inch of cheese on top. It's something like that. So I'm not saying that they have the best food. I'm not saying they have the most diverse food. I'm saying they have a very targeted audience and they know who they're serving.
It's a drinking city. So you got to coat the stomach when you start drinking, you know?
It's function of necessity. Yeah.
So like,
well, I just feel like it is worth mentioning that aside from the chicken sandwich wars, like tenders are really having a different kind of moment right now. And like popcorn chicken that I used to eat so much as a little kid is also now like back on the scene, or maybe it was always on the scene and I missed it for a while. I don't know.
Well, Cali also just learned about oysters. Like
the oyster,
that there's only chicken. 2 popcorns per chicken.
I did not know that.
You know, so our listeners out there, there are only 2 popcorns per chicken, and it is a small little medallion that is part of the thigh that you probably cut off and didn't eat.
It is the great part of the chicken.
It's the best part of the chicken.
In culinary school, that's what they always tell us. Like, this right here, this is the best part.
And if you didn't get it during your meat fabrication class, you got points knocked off.
Yeah. Yep. You got to scoop that whole thing out.
Yes. And that's why you see popcorn style chicken as opposed to popcorn chicken.
Yeah, because it's not the real popcorn.
The other one is like, somebody talked to us about tenders and what the definition of a tender is.
Go for it, Cam.
Yeah, so the chicken tender actually comes from the tenderloin of the chicken. People think like that it is just like a piece of the breast, just like a strip of the breast, like you just cut a little piece off. But no, you can, if you have it side by side, you can definitely tell the difference. That like the protein striations, like all of that. So it is definitely a different eating experience. And since there are only 2 tenderloins on a chicken, hence why if you go to the grocery store, they do tend to be more expensive per pound.
I was trying to look at the difference between a chicken finger, a chicken tender, and a chicken strip. And obviously the finger and the strip are kind of like, don't have to be the tender.
They're the same, essentially, right?
But it's basically, I was like, why do we have
thing?
3 different names for this? But it wouldn't be the first time in the English language. I'm just curious. So, Bryan, like, in terms of different, cuts of chicken or aspects of a fried chicken, do you have an opinion about what you think, like what factor, if it's like the crispiness or like the juiciness of the chicken seems to be like the biggest driver for consumers?
Definitely crispiness. It's definitely that sensory experience, because I mean, there's a reason you don't boil chicken. It's because it's just a really boring sensory experience.
Super fair.
The reason you fry it is for that crunch, and for that not only the crunch but the contrast of that kind of dry, greasy crunch and that moist, juicy chicken in the middle. Both are essential, and I think that it's about the juxtaposition of those two textures. Wow. And mastering that.
Juxtaposition.
It's like a $5 word.
Yes.
So now we can circle back to this hot take. I'm ready to hear it.
Yeah.
Hot chicken is trash.
Whoa.
And it's not just like, I'm not saying that it's off trend and it's declining, it's out. I'm saying it was trash and it is still trash now.
Tell us how you really feel,
all right,
though.
what is, define hot chicken.
Yes.
Define hot chicken for us.
So, sorry, there's nothing against Nashville. Wonderful city, just your chicken is trash. And the reason I say that is because, well, their chicken it's fried chicken. It's often served at a dedicated hot chicken restaurant. It is usually just flour. Sometimes it's buttermilk marinated, but just a flour coating. And then they dunk it in an oil-based glaze, consisting of a lot of cayenne pepper and other spicy things. But cayenne pepper is the main thing that's really going to be in there. And some paprika as well. There's all kinds of different secret recipes at different joints. But it's their staple dish. They serve it everywhere. There's touristy big name ones. There's hole in the wall joints. You could usually also get typical almost like barbecue type sides, like mac and cheese, French fries. They have beans or things like that. So a lot of southern side dishes. But my gripes with it is that I'll first say it's aptly named. It's hot and it's chicken, but that's my gripe with it because that's all it is. It's not flavorful. It's not crispy. It's not salty. That's my big thing. It's always
People just aren't reading the
undersalted.
fine print.
It's always undersalted. And I'm always shocked that
Yes.
it's oil-based. And like glaze is generous. It's generous. It's
Yeah.
just, it's chicken that has been fried in oil and then dunked in more oil.
And then
Yes.
dunk it, and that there is a functional merit to that. With the rise of takeout, the oil-based glazes do keep your coatings crispy for longer.
Yeah.
But it is more difficult to eat. It's heavy. It's heavy. It's very rich. And also you have the issue of a lot of seasonings like salt and sugar are not oil soluble.
Oil soluble, yeah.
So you don't get the flavor impact of a salt solution. You're getting, gritty salt.
Yeah.
In crystal format.
I do have to say it's interesting to me that it's for years now been such a consistent and like fast growing trend. Like it's still being called out. I mean, it's like the fastest growing flavor in chicken wings. And it's definitely like you were saying, it's established itself in entire chains of operators like Dave's Hot Chicken. And there's one called, what is it? HCK. That was also just named like an up and coming chain this year. But it is interesting because we've also obviously seen the rise of so many other spicy flavors. And I wonder, I don't know. I mean, I kind of agree with this. Like I went to Nashville once. I did the hot chicken thing because we were in Nashville. You got to do the hot chicken thing. But there's so many other flavors I'd rather enjoy. So I can definitely get on board with this.
Yeah, I can too. As someone that likes hot, but and I've said it in like previous episodes, like I hate when like things are hot for the sake of being hot.
Yeah.
Like to your point, Bryan, like there needs to be like actual flavor behind it. Then it's like, okay, why am I eating this? Like, why am I dying? Why am I getting full off of water trying to distinguish my mouth? Because that always happens.
Not the water full.
Yeah, I'm getting full off drinking water or milk. Like,
hey,
well, and if you
milk
think
alone.
about it, it is kind of an outlier to the rest of the spice trends that we're looking at. Like we've been talking about the fact that hot for the sake of being hot or calling something just spicy is it's not good enough anymore. But I feel like maybe it's part of that social media piece.
So do you think that it like part of the reason that it really blew up is because it is a perceived regional flavor and has like a city hearken to it?
I think that that's like 80% of what it is. The other part of it is I do think there's ways that you can make it look very nice, like the glistening orange hue of it. It's very social media friendly. But I really think it's just that people were wanting to partake in a unique regional American experience. It's latched onto fried chicken because that's easy to execute anywhere. See, a lot of regional cuisine, it requires a specific ingredient from that region to make it. That's not found everywhere. Not hot chicken. It's found, all those ingredients are found everywhere. So in any city, you can easily execute it. So I think that's why so many operators were so quick to jump on it. Because again, they could offer that unique regional experience anywhere for pretty cheap food cost.
Yeah, because it's just cayenne. I remember the first time I had it, how disappointed I was.
oh my God, I did. Yeah, same.
Like just being like, oh,
It's spicy and it's chicken. It's hot chicken.
and it's oily. Like I'm like, I'm saving
As
my extra
advertised.
oil. I'm saving my extra oil for my French fries.
fries.
Like, come on, you know.
So if we're moving to this recipe lab right now, are we thinking of an idea that's going to make us like hot chicken more?
Yeah. Like I would love to hear your, like, if you had the ability to improve on it, Bryan, what would you do? Because like I have like ways that I could potentially like noodle around with this. But I'm curious to know what you would have to say.
It needs a crutch because it's almost a finished dish. Because you have, if you get the chicken right, make sure it needs salt. Because again, they always forget about the salt in the chicken. They just put all the salt in the glaze. It needs to be both.
Yeah.
And they really focus on the glaze. So there needs to be another flavor there. So it needs to be like hot Thai chicken or like hot Serrano. Like it needs a specific pepper call out. It needs a specific twist on the flavor profile. It just can't be spicy oil. It needs to be spicy oil with smoked serranos. It needs to be spicy oil with lemongrass. You know, something. It needs a crutch. You know,
hear me out.
To get it over.
Hear me out on this idea. Well, one, when we say like, when we're talking about like Nashville hot chicken, are we talking about it in the application of a sandwich? Are we talking about tendies? Are we talking about
I'm just talking about any fried chicken that has that Nashville toss on it. So
I feel
it could
like
be any format.
Often it is seen in a chicken sandwich.
Yes.
Let's do a sandwich.
Yeah, let's contextualize ourselves a little bit here.
I would love to play because like I think one of the defining characteristics, like we did talk about, is the use of the glaze, if you will, being an oil. If we change the oil, like let's use like an animal fat. Let's use tallow. Let's do lard as the base.
Duck fat.
Oh, that'd be kind
Fancy.
of. We bougie here.
Look, guys, we got a budget, so you know, like.
I will see to see that.
Cam is gonna make this, so
yeah,
like let's
gonna
make it like
Bryan.
let's make it fun to eat.
I'm gonna say that we'll Bryan, go ahead. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
No, finish your thought.
I was gonna say like the whole chicken thing, like I think people underutilize, especially like home cooks, because one, it's like so much easier to do dry brining. Like we'll definitely dry brine.
Can you
a piece of chicken
distinguish the differences there?
Share.
So dry brining is the process in which you are simply just sprinkling salt on protein and then letting it sit for a couple hours or overnight, like on a rack in your fridge. And what happens is through osmosis, transfer kind of like water and everything, the salt will penetrate into the meat. Not only is it you're seasoning it, but then you're also tenderizing the meat as well.
Yeah.
And so when you do cook your proteins, this works very well with steaks too. So if you're listening and if you want to make a kick-ass steak, try brine your steak. And it's just so much more user-friendly. There are definitely pros and cons to both, especially with like normal brining, which people like, you'll make like a salt solution, herbs, spices, what have you. There's definitely pros and cons, but just for like a home cook, and even for myself, I dry brine my proteins all the time because it's so much easier to do. And it requires less space. You don't need to have a full container of water sloshing around.
It also is like food safer, in my opinion, a dry brine versus wet brine, because like then you get
so then a wet brine
water.
is like a saline solution of some kind, which is Is hot chicken, question, and I really don't know the answer to this, is hot chicken typically brined in pickle juice?
I think that's a take on it, but I don't think that's like the standard like
because
original
that
recipe.
in my mind, like I know that that's become a very popular way to prepare chicken sandwiches because people are obsessed with pickles. Thank you, Popeyes, for launching
the pickle menu.
Get your pickle menu now.
The pickle menu, yeah.
No, I really got to go try that pickle lemonade for real.
I know.
But yeah, what I was going to say is like, do use an animal fat. I think that's really cool. So we were talking about duck fat. I think that's great. And then in terms of like an Asian spin, like we could definitely play around with like mala. So like Szechuan peppercorn.
Ooh.
It's like the tingly sensation that you get. Some people like it. Some people don't like it. It's very much like an acquired taste, but we are starting to see it kind of pop up even outside of Szechuan cuisine. Just because of that, it brings like in
sensorial.
It brings like a different kind of spice and sensation to the food that you are making. I think another thing too is Chinese 5-spice, playing around with those warm spices, cinnamon, star anise, fennel, like all of that would be really cool. And in the context of the sandwich,
what else goes on the sandwich?
Put it on a thigh sandwich.
Ooh, yeah,
I love a thigh sandwich.
Oh yeah,
thigh sandwich.
We're dry brining. I am curious. Is Popeye's brined? Is it dry brined or wet brined, or is it just marinated?
It's a wet marinade.
Marinated.
Okay.
Wet marinade, but I like where we're going, Cameron, because I think that where hot chicken fails, chili crisp succeeds. You know, it's very similar, but chili crisp has all those flavors you're talking about. You know, it's got the Szechuan, it's got those 5-spice flavors, and then you have those really deep fried scallion and garlic flavors as well. So I think that's a great example of where you can take the oil-based, and in that context, you're taking advantage of fat-soluble flavors, and really able to jam a lot of flavor into a little bit of
Cam,
sauce.
if you're using a chili crisp, like I don't know, maybe you have a preference, maybe it's a Momofuku chili crisp, I don't know. But then people who are listening could also make this at home if they wanted to.
Yeah,
I think maybe just in general tossing in a like chili crisp. Who has anyone done a chili crisp sandwich?
I don't think they've done a sandwich.
No, I don't think I've
Panda
seen a
has
sandwich.
done a chili crisp shrimp. They did chili crisp shrimp. That was really good.
So
interesting.
Yeah, no sandwiches yet.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it's been explored. It's been talked about. But the barrier to entry is the method of production. It's a very Asian thing to do, to put a giant pot of boiling oil on and just fry a bunch of stuff in it for the purpose of not to eat the fried stuff, but to eat the oil left over. That's not something that the West does a lot. So there's not a lot of Western producers
That's really interesting.
who do it at a large scale, because there's never been a customer who's asked them, hey, we need you to fry a bunch of scallions,
Then
throw
take
away
them
the
out.
scallions,
Yeah.
take them out.
Get rid of them.
Get rid of
them.
them. We just want the oil.
aromatics.
So it's just not a typical request. So the ones who do it, there's a lot of good ones out there. They're smaller.
Yeah.
So that's been the barrier to entry.
So it's
for
hard to
us.
scale.
Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're listening, manufacturer partners out there, it sounds like there could be a gap.
An opportunity.
To go back to like the chili crisp idea, like, do we then, like, I know this is pretty simple, but so wait, is the oil flavor component of the chicken going to be chili crisp, or are we still doing what we were talking about earlier?
I think that maybe you take some duck fat, get some clarified duck fat, and maybe do like the fry scallion parts in there. Maybe get some scallion, shallots, garlic, and then maybe mix it with some like Mr. Bing or something, some really good deep chili crisp, and then you can get your scallion, garlic, duck fat, and mixed with your chili 5-spice crisp.
All right, I'm gonna kind of.
Why do I feel like the carrier on the sandwich needs to then be like scallion pancake inspired?
Oh,
oh, whoa! I'm trying to figure out how we would be
like
able
a
to.
Kong Bing.
I was just gonna say, what was that? I was like the Bing bread. I called it the
Bing
Bing bread. I was
Kong
like,
Bing,
It could be this like hot chicken scallion pancake wrap.
I am so hungry now, guys.
Oh, so, okay. So if we do that, then I
Because
feel
like Winsun Bakery making those scallion pancake wraps like blew my mind. I was like, gotta go try those immediately. But like that sounds fitting in this occasion.
Oh my gosh! All right.
Okay, so what else goes on it?
Yeah, there has to be a sauce.
We have to have a sauce.
Do we need like
Bryan,
a pickled vegetable?
I think we need a pickled vegetable. But Bryan, what kind of additional condiment do you think this sandwich should get?
I can't say it.
Yeah, I think you have to.
No, because it's not. It doesn't need it. It's covered in oil. It's covered in oil.
Maybe it's like an elevated version. It's whatever you want it to be.
No. We're going to put a really good...
Respectfully, no.
A really nice scallion-inspired slaw. Something sesame, like a sesame, light ginger sesame dressing on like a scallion-type slaw.
We have avoided mayonnaise. We've avoided mayonnaise. We're avoiding mayonnaise. We're going around
even heard
it.
of that.
We've never even. We don't even know her.
Mayo.
We don't even
Who
know.
is she?
And you know what? It's time to let slaw have it run
moment.
its local
Not
yogurt
mayo slaw
in there.
No,
not
little
vinegar,
like
vinegar.
extra
sesame
protein.
slaw. That sounds so good.
Yes.
Because you're right. It already has that oil in there. So like doubling down on oil. And I think that's another thing that a lot of spots who do hot chicken get wrong is they put mayonnaise on it and then you're just oil on oil. And then that oil, the mayonnaise isn't cooling anymore. It's just coating and feels clunky on the palate,
Okay, let's run it back.
Yeah.
Or do we still have another component to figure out here?
No.
I think we're good. I do want like some like pickled radishes in this slaw.
I was gonna say, I could do some kind of pickled radish. Of some kind. That would be good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So pickled veg. That's definitely doable. Did we decide on the carrier? Come to think of it,
I mean,
I wouldn't be mad if it was just on a regular bun.
Me too.
But if you find like one of those like frozen Bing bread things.
All right.
So let's run it back.
I'm
gonna need like a Chengdu chicken sandwich. Chengdu hot chicken at this point.
I was gonna say I'm gonna need help like articulating the actual chicken piece. So I'm gonna need your guys' assistance.
Clarified duck fat.
Yeah.
Our chili crisp. We're throwing in, what did you say, Bryan? Scallion, ginger.
A scallion slaw of some kind.
Scallion slaw of some kind with some sesame in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
No mayo.
Chicken thighs.
Chicken thighs.
Chicken thigh.
Are we double frying? Are we doing this like Korean style? Are we thinking American buttermilk fried chicken?
I think you should, double fry it up.
Double fry it.
Well,
Extra crispy.
Cameron, he did fried chicken.
That's true.
He was a fried chicken maestro in college.
He was.
We were bench partners in culinary science.
We were.
He was all about it. So.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And how are you not going to mention that right now?
I didn't know you guys went to culinary school together.
Yeah, we were bench partners, same class.
Oh my god!
And
we're having a whole conversation about chicken. You don't mention you're a chicken maestro over here.
Yeah, I'm the fried chicken guy today, but back then he was the fried chicken man.
Well, you learn
So,
something
but
new
my
every
point
day.
is, I trust Cameron to chef
Yeah.
up that
Well,
chicken
now I'm
thigh
extra excited.
and fry it up nice.
But yeah,
Yum.
we'll definitely do it on some sort of nice bun. So we're completely eliminating the need for like a dry dry spice blend, or do we still think that
Because I
there's
think you
merit?
still have the dry chili elements in the chili crisp.
Okay.
So you still get that particulate.
So it's like we'll say like for the, just for my own clarification, it's going to be like a chili crisp fried chicken. We can just call it that.
Duck fat
Like
chili
a ducky
crisp.
chili crisp.
Yeah.
Ducky chili crisp chicken.
So good, you guys. Man.
It's officially snack time.
Yeah. Good God.
All right. Well,
Yeah, we got it.
The Cajun turkeys for Thanksgiving.
Oh.
Yes.
How do you guys do? Like, where did it come from? How do you guys do it?
great
Well,
question.
I mean, it's like when you've mastered one bird, it's like
Go to the next.
which bird's next?
Clearly, it's got to be duck.
Squab at Popeyes.
So it's just a perfect pairing. You're the master of poultry.
yeah.
You really need to walk the walk, not just talk
Yeah.
the talk. So,
That is
I like that.
amazing.
pro tips on that turkey. It's a fully cooked turkey. For food safety reasons.
Yeah.
We're not a turkey processor. We're a fast food chain, so we can't deal in the raw products. But since it's ready to eat out of that turkey bag, you could reheat it. You don't want to cook it too hard for a second time. You just need to reheat it. But it's actually really good if you just slice it for sandwiches cold out of the bag.
Yeah.
It's
that
really
sounds
it's
good.
really solid. And the drippings, again, fully cooked bird, you could take the drippings right out of the bag and pour that into your gravy for your so like my biggest pro tip is buy your raw turkey that you're going to roast on the big day, and then buy your Popeye's frozen turkey. Take the frozen turkey juice and make the fresh gravy with it, and then take the Popeye's turkey and keep that cold, and that's leftovers. And then you roast the raw one.
Whoa.
And so you get that Cajun spice, that MSG also in your gravy, which is great.
Pro
Amazing.
tip.
Yeah, that is a pro tip.
Those
Yes.
are the real. I had friends who are like, "You're talking to somebody from Popeyes. You gotta ask them about this." So, Kate, this is for you.
And okay, also everyone gets sticker shock when they see it. They're like, it's $100. But if you pre-order it, it's more expensive. But if you go to the store, and do it at the store, it's cheaper. I can't tell you the exact price because franchisees dictate that final price.
Respect.
But if you do it in stores, go there in person to reserve it, it'll be a better price.
Wow. I know
Well, and you're guaranteed that it's going to be delicious. So
Of course. Yeah.
I know what we will be eating at our holiday party.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
for real.
Brian, you
I
are
feel
the
like that's a-
poultry prince.
Poultry Prince.
Poultry prince. God.
Gonna change my LinkedIn.
There we go.
Yeah.
Dude, yes. A little emoji too.
Yes.
Oh my God.
heck
Well, that's
yeah.
amazing. Well, thank you for spending time with us. I think it
Yes.
sounds like we have our duck fat chili crisp hot chicken sandwich that Chef Cam will be making at our R&D facilities here in Chicago. So we'll have a follow-up video all on that. But before we wrap it up, Brian, anything to plug on your end?
Nope. Just remember to eat at Popeyes.
Eat at Popeyes. That's
Easy.
right. And thank you again so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. You are someone we've known. I mean, we learned that Cam has known you forever. So to see you kind of on your culinary journey and in this role is super exciting, excuse me. But that's it for today. If you're liking the show, please take a second and subscribe wherever you're listening or watching. If you're on YouTube, we love comments, so drop them down below. And if you're listening on the podcast app of your choice, leave us a rating and a review. We're always hungry for feedback. Stay tuned for our next episode that drops in 2 weeks. And until next time, no matter what the trends are, keep it delicious. Thanks, guys.
bye.
Peace. Bye, guys.